Welcome everyone to the first quarterly meeting of 2022 of the SCA Board of Directors, Inc. I am Dale Fong Frederick, and I am the current chair of the Board of Directors. And we welcome you all to our meeting. This is going to be an opportunity for you to see a little bit of the inner workings of the mysterious BOD and get some sense of what we do. There is a Q&A section that we do at the end. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them into the question box, and we will either try to get to it during the meeting if it's a straightforward question, or we will do a Q&A at the conclusion of the meeting. So I would like to take this time now for all of us to introduce ourselves to you so you have an idea of who we are. As I said before, I am Dale Fong Frederick. I am the chair of the Board of Directors. I live in New York City. I am from the East Kingdom, where I am a Knight of the Society. Next up. Rusty.
Oh, sorry. My name is Rusty Lloyd. I have the honor of being the Society IT Manager of IT for one more day. Yay. I hail from Indianapolis, Indiana, in the lovely Mid-Realm, and I am a Knight and a Pelican in the Society.
Bonnie?
Hi, I'm Bonnie Stringer. I'm known as Marcel Aurelian in Society. I'm a Pelican and I hail from Glenavon. Go Rams.
Go Rams.
Go Rams.
Go Rams.
Carolyn?
Hi, I'm Carolyn Richardson. I'm the treasurer-elect, hoping to become the treasurer very shortly. And I am a Laurel and a Pelican in the Kingdom of Kaid.
Hello, my name is Dan Watson. I live in the SCA Kingdom of Artemisia, where I'm a Knight, a Laurel, and a Pelican. I'm a member of the Board of Directors, but this is my very last day as a member of the board. So in approximately 2 hours, I'll be stepping down from the board, and someone else will step up and take my place. It's been a pleasure.
My name is Eben Kurtzman. In the SCA, I'm known as Brock. My function for the board is I'm going to be stepping in for Patrick as legal counsel to assist the board. And in the SCA, I'm a Viscount, a Laurel, and a Pelican living in the Kingdom of Kaid.
Ellen?
Sorry. Sorry, I thought you were doing board members. Hold on, let me get to the right page here. I'm Ellen Rawson. Despite my accent, I live in the Kingdom of Drakkenbold. I live in England, so I'm 8 hours ahead of California time. I am the editor of Complete Anachronist.
I am guessing that if it was Ellen's turn, it is now mine. I am Darcy O'Neill. I would like to apologize for the degree to which I am backlit. I'll see what I can do before the next quarter. I'm much better known as Riordan McGregor. It's my honor and pleasure to be the editor of Tournaments Illuminated, and I am a Pelican from the Kingdom of Kaid.
Hello, I am Gigi Colson. I'm a director. I'm the ombudsman for Athelmark, Avakal, Drakenwald, Eldemir, Lockhack, and the corporate DEI officer. I split my time between New Orleans, Louisiana, and Glenalmond, and I play primarily when I'm in Anacortes, Washington, with Ontier.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Krothmal. I am the ombudsman for the Kingdoms of Callantyre, North Shield, Outlands, IT, and the Communications Committee. I live in the Kingdom of Atlantia in the Washington, D.C. metro area. I am a Duchess and Pelican in the Society.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Smith. I'm the Society Herald, otherwise known as the Laurel Queen of Arms. In the SCA, I am Emma de Featherston, and I'm a Pelican in the Principality of Bentheim in the Kingdom of Anstiora.
Hi, I am John Fulton in the society. I am the president of SCA Inc. In the society, I'm John the Bear Killer. I'm a knight and a pelican and not a laurel. Thank you.
Katie?
My name's Katie. I'm the Society Social Media Officer. I'm from Onsteora in Texas. I live in DFW. That's me.
Hi, I'm Casey Shepard. I'm the director-elect that might be the someone that's taking for Dan at the end of this. I am in the SCA known as Lord von Brandenburg. I'm a knight pelican in a row up here. And that's me. I'm from Huntsville, Alabama.
Hi, I'm Leslie Luther Fulton. I am the executive assistant for the board of directors. In the SCA, I'm Countess Jane Fallett of Inglewood from the Kingdom of Glenavon. Go Rams. I am the senior pelican there and the baby laurel. So.
Yay.
Go Rams.
Rams.
Hi, I am Liz Schreier. In the SCA, I'm known as Elisette Inning Dermata. I live in the Kingdom of Calontir. Oh, I'm the Society Seneschal. I live in the Kingdom of Calontir in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm a pelican.
Hi, I am Louise Ducray. I am the Vice President for Corporate Operations out here in formerly Milpitas, now San Jose, California. And I don't have an SCA name yet because my name is Louise Ducray.
I'm Patrick Anderson. I am the legal counsel of the SCA for the next 6 days, after which Evan will take over. In North Shield, I am Baron Gabriel of Nordskogen, and because there are 2 territorial barons in North Shield named Gabriel, I am the bad one. Her Majesty said so.
That's all that matters. I'm Pug Bainter. I live in Austin, Texas. I'm a director, ombudsman for Caid East and West and the Heralds. In the SCA, I'm Phelim Gervais. I am a member of the Order of the Laurel, Pelican, and Master of Defense.
Hello, I'm Ray Dubose. I'm the Society Marshal. I live in the DFW area in Onsteora. In the SCA, I'm Ray Beaumont, and I'm a Count, a Knight, and a Pelican.
Hey everyone, I'm Ross Bart Regner. I'm a director. I have the ombudsman assignments for the kingdoms of Artemisia, Adenvelt, as well as arts and sciences and publications, which are the best ombudsman assignments because everybody's so awesome there. In the SCA, I am in Meridies, where I'm a count and a knight. And my personal hero is Leslie Luther Fulton. I hope to be as patient as she is one day.
I feel like I need to pause and let everybody applaud that. So, my name is Sam Davis. In the SCA, I'm Duke Thomas Blackmore. I live just north of Atlanta in the Kingdom of Meridies. I am the IT manager-elect, taking over for Rusty soon, and I am a knight, a pelican, and a laurel.
Sarah? Sarah, we can't hear you. You're still muted. Sarah, we can't hear you. All right, we're going to come back to Sarah. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. If you were not aware of it before, our GoToWebinar is part of our personal challenge, our survival techniques for being a part of the corporate office. So we're going to go to Stacy next.
Hi, thank you. My name is Stacy Hall,
In the society, I am known as Gwendolyn Nehayahan. I am the emergency replacement deputy to the Society Seneschal, so we all hope Liz is doing very well for a very long time. I live in Meridies. I am a territorial baroness for the barony of Iron Mountain, and I am a public.
All right, Sarah.
I think I figured this out, maybe.
Yes.
Can you hear me this time? Yay. I am Sarah Noble McGee, who struggles with technology, and I am your Society Minister for Arts and Sciences. In the Society, I'm Hildegard Bergeron, a Laurel in Atlantia, about in the geographical center just south of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Right. Thank you all very much. Let us begin this first episode of Oh Crap, They Let Me Chair a Meeting. I will entertain a motion to open the Board of Directors. Director Regner.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we open the April 24th, 2022 quarterly meeting of the SCA Board of Directors.
Does that include the option to take things out of order?
Of course.
Is there a second? Seconded by Director Colson. By consensus of the board, we're going to open this meeting and proceed. First item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Turning first to January 30th, 2022, have the directors had an opportunity to review the minutes? If so, I will entertain a motion. Crickets. Director Regner.
See if I can get it right this time. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the January 30th, 2022 quarterly meeting minutes as presented.
Is there a second? Seconded, Director Krochmal. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hands or a card that says yes. The motion carries unanimously. Turning next to February 28th, 2022, if the directors have had an opportunity to review, Director Regner.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the February 28th, 2022 conference call meeting minutes.
Is there a second? Director Colson. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Motion carries unanimously. And finally, the March 28th, 2022 conference call meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve? Director Colson, is there a second? Second, Director Krochmal. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Motion carries unanimously. For the people watching this presentation, we receive our packet long before the meeting date, and we have an opportunity to review all of the different reports and the minutes as they're presented. So we have all had an opportunity to review these in depth before today. If someone has an issue, we can always correct the minutes by motion, and then they would be adopted as amended. Today, we didn't have any amendments, so they've all been approved as presented. So we're going to move to section 3 of the agenda, recurring business. We turn over to our seneschal, Liz Schreier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I regretfully request that the board dissolve some groups from the Kingdom of the Outlands. Looks like they've done a little housekeeping on long defunct groups. First one is the Shire of Glen Medonic in Roswell, New Mexico. The Kingdom Seneschal reports that the group's been inactive since 2015 or so. I don't remember, do you vote on each of these individually because the board has to dissolve them? Or
yeah.
Okay. Then I ask that the board vote to dissolve that group.
Director Krochmal.
Mr. Chairman, I move with regret that we recognize the dissolution of the Shire of Glen Medinock in the Kingdom of the Outlands.
Is there a second? Second, Director Bainter. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hands or your card with a sad face. Motion carries unanimously. With regret to the board, we recognize the dissolution of the Shire of Glen Medinock.
Okay, next is also in the Outlands, the Shire of Hinterlands, which is more or less the Nebraska Panhandle. And again, the Kingdom Seneschal reports no activity within that group since 2019, well before the pandemic. I just want to add as an explanatory that I've been telling Kingdom Seneschals we don't have to pull the plug on groups that just started struggling during the pandemic, but some groups were hanging on barely for a while. So, and I asked that the board dissolve the Shire of Hinterland.
I'm not sure I can vote to remove a group called the Hinterlands. That's pretty awesome. Director Crockmull.
Mr. Chairman, with regret, I request that we recognize the dissolution of the Shire of Hinterlands in the Kingdom of the Outlands.
Is there a second? Second, Director Regner. All those in favor, please raise your hands or your card. Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, last one. This is the Shire of Loch Theorem in Silver City, New Mexico. That seems to have gotten overlooked for a while. The Kingdom Seneschal says that they haven't had a bank account since 2002. So they apparently have been gone for a while and it just never got dealt with. So I asked that the board dissolve that group.
Just for my clarification, that is the Kingdom of the Outlands, correct?
It is the Outlands. I'm sorry. I have to note that on my report for some reason. I put it on all the others, but it is Outlands.
Thank you. Director Crockmull?
Mr. Chairman, with regret, I request that we recognize the dissolution of Loch Theorem in the Kingdom of the Outlands.
Is there a second? Second, Director Watson. All those in favor, please raise your hands or card. Motion carries unanimously. All right, thank you, Ms. Schreier. We're going to move on to section C, 3C, quarterly meeting schedule. Ms. Ducre.
Sorry, I was over there answering a question in the question pane. So our current board meeting schedule, we are still going to be doing virtual meetings until further notice. July 24th do we need to go one by one or just?
You can go through them all.
Okay, so we've got July 24th as our next quarterly board meeting, followed by October 16th. Which closes out this year. Invited guests, including all corporate officers, and our tentative conference call schedule for our meetings in between the quarterly meetings is for Tuesday, May 24th and Tuesday, June 21st.
Thank you, Mr. Cray. By consensus, the board approves the schedule for the following quarter, or the year, I should say, excuse me. All right, thank you. Mr. Cray, you still have the floor on bank account authorizations.
Yes, at present, all bank account authorizations that are in our queue have been completed. Bonnie may have something else to say, but I think we have great. So all that can be processed have been processed. We still have a few waiting in the wings, as always.
Thank you very much. Turning next to warrants. Ms. Luther Fulton.
Yes, sir. I have had, excuse me, I received a couple of warrants, one from the Society Exchequer for Jennifer Montgomery as Gulf Force Exchequer, and one for Sam Davis as the incoming Manager of Information Technology. I'll be sending those out at the close of the meeting via email for your signatures.
Thank you very much. Turning next to ongoing projects, board recruiting. Director Regner.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. So we will be taking over that from Natalie here shortly. She's going to onboard me in the next week, and we will continue board recruitment as usual. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Regner. Directors every 6 months, one person steps down and another person steps up. We are always accepting applications, and if you are interested, please submit your application. We're always looking for people, and the more people that apply, the better opportunity and selection we have to choose the best qualified person. Ms. Luther Fulton.
If you would like, I can read down a quick count of how many candidates we have from each kingdom.
That would be amazing. Thank you.
Okay. Ethelmark 3 on tier 4, Anstiora 1, Artemisia 0, Aidenveld 1, Atlantia 4, Avacol 0, Kaid 2, Callantyre 2, Dragonbolt 0, Eldemir 0, East 3, Glenavon 3, Meridies 3, Middle 5, North Shield 1, Outlands 1, Trimaris 2, and West 0.
Thank you very much. All right, board representation. Oh, was that the board director? I'm sorry, I keep calling you director.
That's okay.
Miss
I don't have any information on anything now because we're still on a travel hiatus.
Okay, thank you. All right, item 4 on the agenda, old business. We will go back to Ms. Schreier for COVID safe policy updates.
Okay, not just COVID safe, but generally COVID. The kingdoms during the Omicron surge that we had in the winter did what I think was a very excellent job of managing their own things. Some kingdoms shut down events temporarily. Every kingdom had some sort of mask rule that they imposed themselves. Some kingdoms that felt it was appropriate did the COVID safe vaccine or testing policy. As the CDC has loosened things and the situation has gotten better, several kingdoms have dropped or dropped back on a number of their restrictions. I did want to mention, this has come up from a few kingdom seneschals, the board specifically gave the ultimate decision-making power within a kingdom on this to the kingdom seneschal in consultation with the crown. The kingdom seneschal is the legal representative, and this is more of a modern world legal and health issue than it is a game side thing. So while the crown's opinion is certainly important and they need to be consulted on any decisions, that authority does rest with the kingdom seneschal ultimately. There's something in John's report that's, a slight thing for the board to consider on policy. Other than that, we are getting closer to normal activity, which is really nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schreier. First of all, I want to extend from the board thanks to the Kingdom Seneschals, to the Society Seneschal, to the entire Seneschalate for the work that they've done during the pandemic. It has been a Herculean effort on everyone's part, and that also includes the crowns, many of whom have served an extensively long period, far more than they had intended when this all began. You have our thanks and our gratitude. Back to you, Ms. Schreier, for variances.
Okay. I only have 3 that have come in since the last conference call. For the information of the audience, I keep up with these every single time we have a meeting. I take them to the board so that we don't end up with 50 at a time like we did in the early pandemic. 2 of these don't have anything to do with COVID, so that's kind of nice. 2 of the 3. First one I have is from Trimaris. I granted a variance for their coronation, which was scheduled April 1st to occur despite a flyer not appearing in the newsletter due to technical difficulties. I would ask the board to uphold that variance.
Is there a motion from the board? Director Colson.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we uphold the variance as stated by the Society Seneschal.
Is there a second? Seconded by Director Krochmal. Please signify by raising your hands if your vote is in favor. Or a card. The motion carries unanimously.
Okay, the second one is the one that is directly COVID related. I granted a variance to Onsteora to hold their next coronation in July instead of March or April as their kingdom law specifies they must do. And that variance was requested because the January COVID surge caused their crown tourney to be delayed by 3 months. So they asked to likewise delay their coronation. I should add that their crown tourney, they had already met the condition of having new royalty in place after COVID by January 31st. This was a subsequent crown tourney that had to be delayed. I asked that the board grant that variance to their kingdom law.
Is there a motion? Director Colson?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we uphold the variance as stated or approve the variance as stated by the Society Seneschal.
Is there a second? Seconded, Director Bainter. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. The last one, I granted a variance to excuse the Princess of the Summits from attending the coronet tourney to choose her successors. That tournament was held March 26, 2022. Her Highness was involved in an automobile accident on the way to the event. And thankfully she wasn't seriously injured, but she was unable to get to the event, proceed to the event as a result. And this variance includes the granting of Viscounty rank to Her Highness upon successful completion of the rest of the reign. I would ask the board to uphold that variance.
Is there a motion? Director Bainter.
I have a motion that we approve the variance for the Princess of the Summits unable to attend and the granting of the Viscounty as recommended by the Society Seneschal.
Is there a second? Seconded, Director Krochmal. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hands. Motion carries unanimously.
That's it for variances.
Okay. Next, we have the communications report. Is Bridget on? Okay. I'm going to entertain a motion to table the communications brand kit and communications proposal for this meeting and table it to the next conference call.
I have a question, please, Dale.
Yes, President Fulton.
I just think it should be talked about. Katie, can you just briefly tell everybody what, since you were part of it, can you just tell everybody what it is?
I don't know too much about it. She was presenting it to me too, but
Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm sorry. I thought you said you were part of it.
I know that the SCA, since it started, has not had brand guidelines, and so I'm pretty sure that it is brand guidelines.
Katie, thank you. I would like this to be presented by our society officer. So is there a motion to table from one of the directors? Director Bainter, is there a second? Seconded by Director Carlson. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries unanimously. It's tabled to our next quarterly conference call. Next, Ms. Schreier, corporate policy changes.
Excuse me. Yes, Mr. Chairman. In late December, I think, there was a request for comment put out for a corporate policy change to corporate policies 2C, 2C. This has been remanded from the February 28th conference call to a quarterly. Currently, that language in that corporate policy says minors may not serve as group marshals or as marshal in charge, seneschal, or exchequer. And the proposed change reads, minors may not serve as royalty, territorial barons or baronesses, seneschals, exchequers, group marshals, or marshal in charge. The reasoning behind that relates to the fact that most kingdoms have laws that specify that people competing in royal lists have to be of age. Not every place does, and those responsibilities sometimes overtangle with legal aspects of responsibilities, as do territorial barons and baronesses. So we requested, John and I worked on requesting that this change for corporate policy be put out for comment. We didn't get a lot of comments. Those were almost all favorable. The couple that weren't were bringing up things like, well, kids in high schools can be presidents of clubs. Well, I can guarantee you the kids in high schools are not the legal representative for that club. And people remembering things a long time ago when royalty responsibilities were much closer to just ceremonial. So almost all the people were in favor of it. So I would request that the board do this corporate policy change. I believe there's a certain majority that has to happen for that. Is that right, Leslie?
I believe it is 5 of the 7. John, is that correct?
Muted, I'm muted. So is this a corporate policy update? Is that correct, Liz?
Yes.
Yes.
Takes 5. Takes 5. Takes 5 yeses to enact it. Yes.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to amend corporate policies section 2C2C to read the following language. Minors may not serve as royalty, territorial barons or baronesses, seneschals, exchequers, group marshals, or marshals in charge. Is anyone so moved? Director Crockmall.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the policy changes as presented by the Society Seneschal, effective immediately.
Is there a second? Director Painter? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hands. And the chair exercises his right to vote on this, and I vote in the affirmative. Motion carries unanimously. All right, thank you very much. On to new business, YAFA status. Ms. Schreier?
That's me again. I'm requesting as an action item that the board take action to eliminate the YAFA Youth and Family Activities Program as a corporate program. I want to do a little explaining for the audience and all here. It's kind of unfortunate, but that program, while a lot of work was put into it, has never been widely subscribed to. Only a few kingdoms, 6 at the most, have ever really participated. And at the moment, the only kingdom that seems to be fully on board with it is Ontario. It would not be, it could still be used by the kingdoms, the materials if desired. And there are some tokens that the SCA had ordered and spent money on that could be used by kingdoms also. But it hasn't developed enough of a following for the fairly enormous resources that were needed to keep it going at the society level. And because it was a board approved program, I think it takes board action to eliminate it. I haven't been able to locate any exact board action. I found approvals of handbooks at the August 22nd, 2016 conference call meeting. And I do want to add that this does not mean that that we're abandoning the idea of youth activities. I have a meeting scheduled with a number of kingdom youth ministers to talk about how the society level could support the kingdoms in doing their own choices. I want to make that clear. But the YAFA program itself at the corporate level just really hasn't worked out the way it was envisioned, unfortunately. So I'm asking the board to take whatever action they need to dissolve it at the corporate level.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Director Colson?
Mr. Chairman, I move that with regret, we approve the dissolution of the YAFA program as a society program as presented by the Society Seneschal.
Is there a second? Director Crockmall? I do have one question for Ms. Schreier. The YAFA materials, are they going to be maintained and made available to the kingdoms that want to use them?
I'm going to work on that. Yes, I'm going to have to talk to technology about just where they're stored and so forth. I know the website itself was taken down, but I believe the materials still exist. So So I'm going to have to work with the technical people because that is not my superpower. But yes, I would like to have them available for those who want to use them.
I see two hands. I'm going to start with President Fulton.
Yeah, I think Dale, you may have also wanted to know about the actual physical material, and it is a lot of stuff beyond the website that I know Liz is going to discuss about ways to repurpose these thousands of medallions into whatever the kingdoms can use. But that's part of her plan.
Thank you, President Fulton. Mr. Lloyd?
Yes, the site has been taken down, but none of the material has been deleted. So as soon as we understand the disposition of those materials, then they can be repurposed accordingly. So that shouldn't be an issue.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the directors? All right. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hands. Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Okay, we're going to go to section 6, 6A, President Report.
Yeah. Logan, everybody, let me find my report. This is my report for the April board meeting of 2022. The requested board, first is requested board actions under the office of the president. Per the previous conference call meetings and the stated the desire of the board to allow the Society Seneschal of my office to adjust the board's COVID policy as needed in between quarterly meetings. I request the board approve the following update to the Society's COVID policy, and I have a new language that was sent to me. The language I suggest now is going forward, the president, Society Seneschal are authorized to work together to make COVID policy decisions and adjust society-wide strictures as needed. Any changes will be presented to the board of directors for approval at the next meeting. And again, this is to allow, kingdoms need to know what they can or cannot do. We may need to relax or add some things on a faster basis to make the whole process a little more reactive. So the board has been amenable to defining this as what Liz's office and my office can do. And that's the reasoning behind this.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Director Bainter?
I move that we accept the modification of the policy as presented by the corporate president.
Is there a second? Seconded, Director Regner. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hands. Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. At our offices, Liz and my offices will let the board know prior to making any changes so that we don't surprise everybody. And this, I think, really helps us become a little more proactive rather than reactive during pandemic conditions. My commendations, and there are 3 of them. Aaron Rusty Lloyd, Sir Aaron Palamedes of Buckminster, is stepping down as the SCA's Manager of Information Technology. He has served twice in that position at different times for a total of about 10 years. Before that, Rusty also served on the board of directors. He is without a doubt one of the most talented individuals I have ever had the honor to work with. His patience with me and others, at times in resetting my password and others over the years, is legendary. The dedication he's exhibiting, complete attention to detail, has allowed the SCA to move forward as an organization in a professional and quality manner. He is a consummate family-oriented person, and I consider him a good friend. I hope he enjoys this well-deserved time away from the business of the SCA and look forward to seeing him in person. My next commendation is for Patrick Anderson. Baron Gabriel of Nordskogen is also stepping away at the end of this April. Patrick has been the SCA legal counsel for about the last 12 years. He was also a past and most excellent president of the SCA. In addition, Patrick was chair of the SCA legal committee prior to becoming counsel. Like Rusty, Patrick's complete dedication, quality, and service to the SCA is without question. Patrick has always been a perfect advisor and a friend for years. He has moved the SCA itself around through and past difficulties too numerous to count. His sense of humor, experience, wit, and wise advice have been a constant inspiration for me. Like Rusty, I consider Patrick a trusted friend and boon companion. Patrick has served the SCA completely and has earned our great thanks. He has also introduced me to Wisconsin maple syrup after about a 40-year void in my life, and I owe him specifically for that. Salutes and hugs, Patrick. The third is Dan Watson. Sir Bartholomew Hightower is coming off the board as he finishes his 3.5-year term. This does not include the months he spent as director-elect prior to becoming a board member. Dan is intelligent, educated, perceptive, compassionate, dedicated, artistic, and knowledgeable on more subjects than I can even grasp. It appears he can craft and build, well, just about friggin' anything. As a board member, he has served with leadership and attention to ensuring the SCA and all its members and participants were very well represented. During the last 2 years of the epidemic, Dan also served as chairperson and demonstrated how to do such a difficult job under very trying circumstances. He has my respect and complete trust, has been an example to me of how to do a job with heart, mind, and never ever forget integrity. I did not know him well prior to his board time, though his word fame is huge. And one thing I do know now is I should have looked him up earlier because he is a hell of a human being. Thank you, Dan, very much for your time. My publishable summary, winter of 2021 to 2022 is gone, fingers crossed, and we are now entering spring 2022. Last month, March 2022, Gulf Wars went on, and there were over 21 people who had a chance to interact, play, camp, and be in person at a rather large multi-kingdom SCA event. Meanwhile, kingdoms and groups have started up in-person events on a more regular basis. Additional inter-kingdom events are coming in 2022. Penzic, with an exclamation mark. The kingdoms of North America continue to have the ability to set their own COVID rules as needed. Being careful and staying safe is still primary on everyone's list of concerns, so there are going to be many more challenges in the rest of this year. As more people become vaccinated and the medical community learns more about infection and treatment, as that all becomes more available and knowledge grows, we will certainly be safer. Again, fingers crossed, and in-person events can be possible. Amazon Smile and our participants who are in the program have again helped the SCA. The quarter between October 1st and December 31st, 2021 produced a donation to the SCA General Fund of $2,819.27. This is a donation from Amazon Smile directly to the SCA and does not cost any Amazon shopper anything. If you are considering naming the SCA Inc. as a recipient for the Amazon Smile program and would like assistance on how to do that, please email me, president@sca.org. The SCA has been using members-only software for all of our members' needs for the last 10 years. However, the company is approaching a time in which they will no longer be offering support for that software. That is probably ending around the end of 2022. We are looking for a cost-effective, usable, and service-oriented replacement. Thank you, Louise, for doing that, for headlining that. A great place on the SCA.org website to view possible job openings, board recruiting info, general announcement, COVID safe policy information can be found at www.sca.org. The quarterly meetings in July 22 and October 22, as was mentioned before, will continue to utilize GoToWebinar. These meetings are open to everybody. Information on attending the meetings is made public about a week before each meeting. Announcements on how to sign up will be forthcoming. I urge everybody to at least watch one board meeting. It is highly informative, and you get to see a bit of how the sausage is made. Travel, I went to Gulf Wars, and that is my report. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, President Fulton. Your report is accepted with the consensus of the board. Information Technology Manager.
Unto the esteemed directors of the Society for Creative Anachronism, the Vice President Manager for Information Technology sends greetings. Herein follows the first quarter 2022 report to the Board of Directors regarding the activities of the Department of Information Technology for the board's April 24th, 2022 meeting. Requested board actions, none. Policy interpretations, none. New policies, none. Commendations. Please send my warmest thanks and commendations to Dave Dubray and Marla Lesson for their valuable day-to-day work to keep our technology and associated services running. Please also commend Sam Davis and Louise Dupre for their invaluable assistance this quarter. I would also like to send my best wishes to Eowyn Senek and thank her for her service as Society Web Minister. Technology in the SCA continues to move forward. We continue to assist our officers in the most efficient use of technology in the SCA Inc. We have been reviewing our policies to ensure they're up to date and assisting our corporate officers and resolving technology concerns as we continue to work on fully resuming day-to-day activities. We continue to look for ways to lower costs and improve support, technology, and functionality in our corporate officers and members in a variety of ways. We are in need of a new Society Web Minister, so if you the publication or the ask for respondents will be out shortly, so I encourage everybody to let people know so they can apply. If you have questions about the position, we're very, very happy to answer them. In addition, we've also been very busy training the new IT manager. He is a quick study and he will be great in the position as he's already doing some great stuff. One other quick thing to note is our Society Web Minister unfortunately had to step down. After she did so, her and her team presented us with a draft of the new Web Minister Handbook. After review by Sam and myself, we will ask that it be returned for further work, and we have specific feedback we will give to them in that regard. But I'd like to thank them publicly for all the hard work that they did on that. There were quite a few people who worked on that, so very pleased that they did that. Just a couple other things. As always, I remain in service to the SCA. This is my last corporate report before my successor, Thomas Blackmore, takes over. I've been doing this for a really long time, and there are lots of people to thank. So thank you, everybody in the society, from board member to corporate officer to society participant, all the people who've been on the virtual webinars, all the people who've asked me questions over the years. Couldn't probably answer all the questions the way they wanted to, but we tried our best to answer them the right way. And very proud of the work I've done for the society over the last mumble years, and happy to continue being in the society and serving it for years to come. Thank you also for all the kindness that you've shown me during my tenure in this office. As John alluded to earlier, it has truly been my honor to serve the society and to serve all of you. Please extend the same kindness you have shown to me to Thomas as well. And please don't forget to embrace our principles of chivalry, honor, and courtesy to each other, especially over social media and online. So thank you all very much, and that is my report.
First of all, the board by consensus accepts your report. Secondly, I would like to extend our thanks and gratitude from the entire board of directors of the SCA, those that are here today and those that have served over the number of years that you have been taking care of IT for us. You are a stellar human being and you are amazing at your job, and I could not personally thank you enough. And on behalf of the rest of the directors, I extend the same thanks again. And to Sam, welcome aboard. We look forward to a number of years with you, and those of us that are a little technologically challenged plan to keep you on your toes. I would also like to take a moment to extend to Mr. Anderson the thanks of the board. Although you are not giving a report, I think this might just be the best time that I can squeeze it in. You have been awesome in your years here, not just as a director, but as legal counsel to the board. You have done a tremendous amount to protect our organization and to keep this dream alive in the mundane world, much of which the society never sees or hears about because you do your job well. And I would just like to extend the thanks of the board of directors. Once again, those of us here and those of us that have been here for all the years that you've served. Thank you. All right, moving on, we have Society Communications Officer, and there is no report. So we will move on next to the Society Media Officer. Ms. Gilroy.
Media, social media.
Social media, sorry.
Media, I think we have an actual person in charge of media. This is my first report, so bear with me. Requested board actions, none. Policy interpretations, none. New policies, none. Commendations. I commend all of the creators who helped capture Gulf Wars in March. It was one of the first major wars back, and I think everybody had a lot to share, and it really got people excited for the SCA again now that we're coming back off the pandemic. All of the creators on TikTok, specifically Queen Adelhat, Lady Esfielder, and Baroness Agatha Wanderer, who are all doing amazing things on TikTok, and it's actually leading to recruiting within the local groups. So thank you to everyone who is on that new platform and using it for the SCA. Frukofina from Montseora, who covered the entirety of Texas and Oklahoma, multiple events on multiple platforms. Everyone who runs live streams so that the SCA may still be enjoyed from home after the pandemic or during the pandemic. We discovered just how critical this is. Thank you to John, Liz, Rusty, Ross, and Bridget for your support of the office. So that's pretty much what I have.
Thank you very much. The board accepts your report by consensus, and that was a great first report. Welcome aboard. Next up, Society DEI Officer.
As Jessica is not in attendance, I will be reading her report as her ombudsman, and I just want to make a correction. She's the corporate DEI officer. So this is her report for this quarter. No requested board actions, no policy interpretations. Her commendations are, thank you to Rusty, who has saved me from ever fighting spam bots alone, as well as offered friendship and kindness throughout the last few years. And of course, thank you to Patrick. Your jokes and advice, sometimes together, have been a godsend. We will miss you both dearly. As always, Bridget, Liz, and John, your support is invaluable and I treasure you all. And as always, I am endlessly grateful for my deputies, Drew and Olivia, as without their support, I would certainly be overwhelmed. Thank you so much. Her summary, publishable, is, as the weather gets warmer and colder and warmer, many kingdoms are beginning to return to in-person events. Strive to show one another compassion as we all enter back into the SCA at our own paces with different levels of comfort and risk tolerance. The official DEI Facebook page is SCA Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Facebook, has a variety of classes, interviews, and panels available as we begin to transition back to in-person events. I will continue to produce digital content as well as teaching in person, and I am accepting suggestions and recommendations for topics folks would most like to see explored. All DEI videos have now also been uploaded to the SCA YouTube page. For more questions, feel free to message the Facebook page or email me directly, Jessica directly, at equity@sca.org. That's equity@sca.org. I continue to teach various classes on topics related to DEI, as do our many Kingdom DEI deputies, officers, council members, and others. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me if you would like to know more about when these might be, or if you are interested in scheduling these for your area, and I will do my best to facilitate this. Her travel plans are Ontario West War and Penzic, and she plans to teach at both. Thank you.
Thank you. The corporate DEI officer's report is accepted by consensus of the board. Next, we turn back to Ms. Schreier, Society Seneschal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a couple of new policies. Let's see, we already covered requested board actions and policy interpretations. I didn't have any. I have some new policies. First of all, I would like the board to approve an addition to the society golf cart policy, which is in my handbook somewhere in the insurance section. I want to add the following verbiage. Privately owned golf carts are not allowed at any SCA event unless approved in advance by the site owner, the event steward, and the seneschal in charge. Proof of private insurance by the cart owner or operator is also required. If golf carts are loaned or rented for use by an SCA group for an event, the SCA golf cart insurance must be obtained, as well as a documented rental agreement between the SCA legal representative and the owner or the leasing company. Currently, the SCA requires activation of golf cart insurance if an event staff rents or otherwise uses golf carts for their use at the event. While it's not common, there have been some instances of private individuals bringing their own golf carts to events for their own private use. That can also create a situation where they loan it to the event staff. And this policy would be added to the Seneschal's handbook. I also need to make a very slight wording change to the existing paragraph in the insurance matters. It now says when a group rents golf carts, the SCA's golf cart insurance must be activated. It should say when a group uses. An earlier paragraph says uses, that one says rents. I've run into situations with people rules lawyering that to make it out to be the best for their situation. They need to activate it no matter whether they're renting it or somebody says, here, use my golf cart for the event. As far as the new policy, that just makes sure that if anyone is bringing their own golf cart for their own use, we don't have to, if something unfortunate happens, they have insurance and they've got permission. This would not, of course, affect the use of golf carts by a site that we have rented for the event. That's on them. That's site management, things that their employees are using, such as the golf carts at Cooper's Lake, that sort of thing, that would not be affected. So I would ask that the board approve that policy change. I want to add for the audience that the board has seen this. They've seen my report for a while now, and they've seen it before.
Director Regner.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the changes to the Seneschal's handbook as presented by the Society Seneschal, effective April 24th, 2022.
Is there a second? Seconded, Director Colson. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, I have a second new policy that I would like the board to look at.
President Fulton has his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I apologize. I was reading the next section. Go ahead, President Fulton.
No problem. I just wanted to say this is to thank the board for graciously doing this. This is a very important issue related to our insurance, and Liz and I have wrestled over this for 8 months or so, as Louise does, and we all do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Schreier?
Okay. Second new policy, I want to add a policy, excuse me, to the Seneschal's handbook. Ultimately, it will go in the events section of the Seneschal's handbook. A policy on event sites owned by SCA members. And the proposed policy reads, a representative of the SCA cannot also represent any private entity with which the SCA does business. There must be a clear separation. Property owned by SCA members may be used for SCA events. However, the following conditions must be met. 1, the site owner or owners may not be event stewards for events occurring on their property. 2, there must be a written contract signed by the site owner and the SCA's legal representative, typically the local seneschal, spelling out the terms under which the site is used. This contract must spell out any monetary or other consideration given to the site owner in return for the use of the property. 3, this contract must be approved by the Kingdom Seneschal prior to signing. 4, Property owned by the seneschal or exchequer of the sponsoring branch may not be used for an SCA event sponsored by that branch. Exception, if the member-owned property is being used strictly for local meetings or practices and no monetary or other consideration is being given by the SCA to the site owner may oversee the meeting or practice if they hold a local office whose duties would normally include such oversight, such as local branch seneschal or marshal. A local meeting or practice cannot be advertised outside the local area, cannot appear in the Kingdom newsletter or on the Kingdom calendar unless the Kingdom customarily lists all such local meetings or practices, and cannot be a multi-day event. Both the governing documents and the society financial policy say that SCA activities have to have a designated person who represents the SCA's interest, and that we can't have even the appearance of private inurement to an individual. We can pay for a fair price for services or a site rental or something like that, which is spelled out contractually typically. It's recently become clear that while we've long told Kingdom seneschals and exchequers that a person cannot be both the site owner and the event steward, this needs to be explicitly written down somewhere, because there are too many people who are trying to skirt it or don't know it. And so after I discussed it with the president and both the incoming and outgoing House legal counsel, it was determined that the seneschal's handbook would be a good place to put that. So it's a new policy of my office. And I would ask the board to approve that policy. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Director Regner.
I have a motion if the board doesn't have any questions. Mr.
Well,
Chairman, I move.
Make the motion and we can have discussion if anyone wants to have it.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the changes as presented to the Seneschal's handbooks by the Society Seneschal effective April 24th, 2022.
Is there a second, Director Bainter? Okay, is there any discussion on this? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your hands. The motion carried unanimously, excuse me. Okay, Ms. Schreier?
Thank you. That's going to make things hopefully a little easier, and I'll be communicating it appropriately to the Kingdom seneschals. I'm sorry, give me a minute to find the next section. Okay, commendations. I want to commend Kelly Ann Anderson, Countess Beatrice Maria Malatesta, who stepped down last month as Seneschal of Lowcock. B faced a number of challenges, both personal and SCA, during her tenure. Lowcock has its own governing board, and B's quarterly reports are easily as complex as mine. She guided her kingdom through the pandemic, managed varying local requirements as complex and changeable as any I've seen, and she richly deserves the break. I also want to commend Kelly Donovan Condren, Mistress Maeve Ingen E. Kelly, I hope I pronounced that somewhere close to right, who has stepped down as the Seneschal of the East Kingdom. Kelly came in facing some immediate major challenges due to circumstances that were totally out of her control, and then she got to deal with the pandemic. I've appreciated her humor and willingness to communicate with my office, and again, a well-deserved break. And another Kingdom Seneschal stepped down this month, Becky Littlefield, Baroness Eleanor Windover. She's guided North Shield with a firm and well-organized hand and leaves things in good shape for her successor. Another well-deserved break, though she has been foolish enough to suggest that after a few months off, she might be willing to work on a project or two for me. The corporate level is bidding farewell at this meeting to a couple of folks who have served the SCA at a high level beyond the point of sanity. Rusty Lloyd leaves the position of IT manager. While he's leaving it in capable hands, they can't be any more capable than his. I've found Rusty a delight to work with and quite tolerant of the fact that technology is not my superpower. One regret I have is that due to the pandemic, we have yet to meet in person, and I hope to remedy that someday in the reasonably near future. We don't live that far apart. Best wishes, Rusty, and thanks for your wisdom and advice, as well as your technological expertise. And Patrick Anderson is departing his job as the SCA's in-house legal counsel. I've known Patrick for quite a while. I'm not 100% certain I should offer a commendation here because it's all his fault that I have this glamorous and exciting job. But seriously, Patrick's been a sounding board for me for a very long time, and I deeply appreciate his viewpoint and humor, as well as his service to the SCA over the years. Again, I regret that we never got to attend the same in-person meeting, but I know I'll see him in the future. And from the Kingdom Seneschals, I have the following commendations. From Onstiora, she says, I would like to commend Elsa Schemmer von Snockenberg, Libby Snyder, for stepping back in as social media officer as Marjorie Heron, Katie Gilroy, steps in as society social media officer. From Atlantia, she says, the Chancellor of the University, Dame Adriana Le Breton, Andrea Calicut, completed her term of office in January 2022, and I wish to commend her for taking the reins of university firmly in hand at the beginning of COVID in March of 2020 and building a highly successful virtual team. I believe that without virtual university, Atlantia would have suffered greater losses in membership and community spirit. Her leadership created a new and inspiring online presence for Atlantean University, one that will continue to serve the SCA well beyond COVID. From Drachenwald, she says, I wish to recognize Lady Ida von Boulogne and Frau Malamkum Galpin for their efforts to implement Google Workspace for Drachenwald Kingdom administration. They organized the project quickly and worked very hard to make it a success, as well as being great fun to work with. Lord Simon Talbot, who currently manages the Drachenwald domain and email forwarding, along with being Kingdom Exchequer, also deserves acknowledgement for his assistance. All are worthy of appreciation for their efforts to make Kingdom administration easier, and I thank them very much. From the East, she says, my tenure in office has been eventful, and I deeply appreciate all of the branch and regional seneschals during this period. You have done vital work to keep this society we love together through a period of uncertainty and insecurity. Thank you for helping me through these unprecedented times. The Kingdom Web Minister and I stepped into our roles on the same day, and there's literally no one else I'd have wanted by my side as we translated in-person experiences to online, hybrid, and back to in-person. Herr Matthias von Würzburg has led a dedicated team who have gone beyond all that could have been asked of them. I am profoundly grateful that Matthias is my Kingdom officer sibling, and more importantly, my friend. Thank you to the crowns and heirs with whom I've had the pleasure to work. Your collective confidence in this office helped to keep the Kingdom on an even keel. Thank you to the populace of the East for your support, your feedback, your commitment to the Kingdom. Serving the East has been my honor. I may be retiring, but I'm not going far. Thank you, Magistra Audrey, for the energy and momentum you bring to the office. And from Locock, this quarter, I would like to thank Lord Jean-Christophe Lessaussier, known as JC. He's the Seneschal of the Barony of Rowaney. He's been amazing in the background for Rowaney Festival. He has made this event much easier to manage from an administrative perspective, especially with the challenges that the ever-changing landscape of COVID created. And Baroness Anne de Tournay and Duchess England Tuffel, these ladies have been my confidants, reviewers, sanity, and friends. This has been continual over my tenure, and when things seemed too hard, they kept me going in the role, particularly in February when Thorvald and I had multiple issues to manage. Baron Thorvald in Sudreski, this guy is amazing. He will do a fantastic job in the role. And from North Shield, she says, I would like to commend Baroness Asa Olafskona, who has served the Kingdom as both Central Regional Deputy Seneschal and Stollery Secretary. She has done a wonderful job, and our Kingdom processes have improved for her service. I would also like to commend the Honorable Lady Morgane Scott Blood for her service as Eastern Regional Deputy Seneschal. Morgane has worked with many of our smaller groups in the Eastern region to help them through the past 2 years of change. Finally, I must recognize Baron Abelard de Elster, who has been a constant help in all things web-based, as well as helping with administrative work in countless ways. And I have this from the Society Chatelaine. I would like to mention Kellogg Dawn in Indian Meek on Nora Gregoire, who is the Kingdom Chatelaine of the East. She is about to step down, but I did want to comment to her hard work and dedication to this position. She has had a large geographical area, 2 countries, and multilingual. I have been very impressed by her and have been glad that we got to work together. Whew, that's all the commendations. My publishable travel. I attended Gulf Wars in March, Monday through Saturday. I had social gatherings with the Kingdom Seneschals in attendance, and also some society investigators that were in attendance. In upcoming months, I plan to attend the Lilies War, Ontario West Roar, I had said possibly, but I've booked my airline flight now, and certainly Penzic. Those are all at my own expense. Penzic and Lilies are on my normal rotation anyway. I'm investigating whether Great Western War would be feasible, and that is my travel. Publishable summary. It was a rough winter in many ways, but the known world pulled through it, and with spring we are beginning to look ahead to a much fuller event season than at this time a year ago, when events weren't even allowed quite yet. Gulf Wars happened and appears to have been successful, if somewhat smaller than usual. Plans are proceeding for most, if not all, of the other large customary outdoor events during the next 6 months or so. The populace is reminded that we are still in a pandemic, and kingdoms absolutely have the authority to continue, add, or change whatever restrictions they believe are necessary to protect their people. I will continue to back any and all reasonable strictures, and the SCA reserves the right to enact measures of its own if the need arises. All the kingdom seneschals in the known world deserve a pat on the back for a job well done during this very trying past season. The kingdoms each enacted precautions that made sense for them, and they did a great job. The pandemic and lack of in-person activity has caused some of our groups and even kingdoms to struggle a bit in finding volunteers for offices and events. We've always been a volunteer organization based in participation, not observation. Please consider stepping up to help out as we move toward more normal activities. And most of all, enjoy to whatever level you feel comfortable. If you are able, get out into the sun and the outdoor events and practices that will be happening relatively safely in the near future. Remember what brought you into the SCA? I encourage you to try to do it or find a new passion. That's what it's all about. And that concludes my report. I have a summary from the Society Shadlin and Stevenson as well. From Anne's report, it has been fairly quiet in my office this last quarter. Some kingdoms have been able to participate in more in-person activities, and there have been some events and even larger demos that have been engaging with newcomers. Other kingdoms are not quite there yet, but hopeful. I've been pleased to see that online activities are still occurring, and it is my hope that this resource continues to be utilized. We have shifted our conversations back towards more membership recruitment again, although retention continues to be important. We will be having an April Kingdom Shadlin meeting over Zoom. At this meeting, we will talk about membership recruitment, but also we will talk about Shadlin and officer recruitment, which has been by far the biggest struggle that the kingdoms have been having. And that concludes my report and that of the Society Shadlin.
Thank you. The board accepts your report by consensus, but I believe Mr. Anderson has a comment.
I'll have a couple of real quick things a little bit later, but for this one, first of all, it was my fault. I own this one. But second of all, Liz has been my advisor for approximately 20 years, up to and including the fact that she advised me both to and not to become a protege of my former Pelican. She was very, very good, even though my former Pelican is a good friend of hers. It has been really weird, that role swapping where I'm advising her. It has been the weirdest thing ever because I'm used to her advising me. So thank you, Liz.
All right, thank you very much. Next up is section 6C, Vice President of Corporate Ops, Louise Ducray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
That office.
I will take it. Sorry, did you accept the report of VP of Ops? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I missed it. Okay, this is the report for the first quarter for Vice President of Corporate Operations. The board has been provided the membership statistics and accounting reports for the previous quarter. Requested board actions, none. Policy interpretations, none. New policies, none yet. For commendations, I would like to commend Mizelle Atia, who's not here, Alicia Gabriel de Figueres and her team of SCARS deputies who have been working tirelessly to battle and overcome a myriad of registration issues lately. Thanks also especially to Kenda McCormick, Mistress Brianna Morgan of the Valley, who's our SCARS deputy for the Kingdom of Atlantia, because she has stepped in to assist Mizelle with all of our event reconciliation, and that has been invaluable. Commendations are obviously in order for Rusty and Patrick and Dan, and everybody's going to say way better things than me because I haven't had the pleasure of knowing you as long. But I do want to thank you all for just being really welcoming and patient with me over the last year, and really making me just feel good as I've gotten my footing. I really appreciate it. And also, Dan, you were on my hiring committee, so hey, thanks. And I look forward to continuing to see you guys and work with you guys however you choose to, and hopefully get to meet you in person one day. General status. The trademark renewal for the SCA Laurel Shield logo has been filed with Patent and Trademark. It hasn't come through yet, but it will. It just takes a couple months. As a reminder, the official PO box for the corporate office has been changed as of January 1st. We do still get some mail at the old 360789 PO box, so mail forwarding is continuing. But please update any documentation or old forms that you have. Our membership assistance fund, the Seniority Fund, continues to be utilized regularly, and we would like to thank everybody who continues to donate. Last quarter, we got a dedicated page on the website, so it's very easy to find if you would like to donate or if you would like to avail yourself of this program. Just contact us, just call or email us. It's that easy. We are, as the President Fulton mentioned, we're in the intermediate stages of finding a new CRM system, a database and stock clerk system to replace members only, which has been used by the corporate office for membership management and our web store, as well as by many kingdoms for event registration, also known as SCARS, also known as the event module. And that we should have news about that within the next month, and we'll be moving forward with that. We understand that there have been several persistent issues of the system, and so thank you to everybody, officers and the populace included, for your patience. We are getting to them as fast as possible, and just if you're having any problem registering or accessing your membership, just contact membership. Membership@sca.org is the easiest way to get to us. Travel none, and that's me. That's the report.
Thank you very much. Accepted with the consensus of the board. And would you also please do the publications manager?
Yes. Yeah, this is the first quarter report from Gloria Woodard, the publications manager. Board actions, policy interpretations, and new policies, none. Commendations. Thanks to Matthew Cavaletto, who has a Welsh name. So Mathgaman Uarudan, Welsh hates me, for all the work he has done, gathering information about the release forms and their uses. His work on an initial draft of a release forms handbook has been exceptionally helpful. Commendations to Crystal Smith, Cecilia Blythe, for stepping into the Society Chronicler role so quickly. Thanks go to Stephanie Sitsis, Ariana Stefana Falconi, for her long service as the Society Chronicler and providing a smooth transition of office for Cecilia. Also, commendations go to the entire publications team for their tireless work providing quality publications for the SCA. General status, we've had a smooth transition for the Society Chronicler position, and the newsletters are filling up with events announcements as we get closer to something like normal scheduling. The publications team is functioning beautifully with a great management staff and exceptional volunteers, providing the talent and skills for the newsletters, tournaments, illuminated, and complete anachronist. The digital archivist has been familiarizing himself with the processes currently in use and hoping to provide strong support to the SCA archivist. Currently working on branding the release forms and developing a release forms handbook, which is intended to be a singular resource for information about release forms and how to use them. Publishable summary is the publications team continues to do wonderful work in providing newsletters, the magazine Tournaments Illuminated, and the scholastic publication Complete Anachronist. The hard work and long hours of volunteer service from the team is much appreciated. And travel, none. That is the report from publications.
Thank you. That is accepted with the consensus of the board. And we turn now to Ms. O'Neill, Tournaments Illuminated.
Now I am. Okay. Hi. Actually, I'm remarkably non-binary, but since I've been performatively female for a little more years than I care to count, I will answer to any and all pronouns. So just for the record.
Could not
No
have made
question.
that assumption, and I apologize.
No, that's okay. I only grew the beard out during the pandemic because I either wasn't going out or had a mask on my face when I did. So this is new to a lot of people. Yeah, just wait till my mother sees my new pictures. Anyway, let's see. This is the report for the Office of the Tournament's Illuminated Editor. I actually have a requested board action. I believe this is my first one, so be gentle with me. I would like to request that the board approve the following. I propose a new feature to appear on ti.org. Or anywhere else the board would like me to put it. I suggest it could be called Tournaments Illuminated Presents. As an aside, we also have a feature that appears occasionally in TI called Inside Voice, because it relates to member-generated material versus something we have called Outside Voice, which is people with similar interests who are not society members. Anyway, this would be a space in which to feature articles by members which are SCA related and would be of interest to readership and wider membership, but which don't fit within the strict scope of Tournaments Illuminated or Complete Anachronists. Primarily for reasons of content and or length. Featuring such submissions also would afford the opportunity to include many more photographs than would be practical in print, and to feature color images, which is not possible in TI's interior pages or in Complete Anachronist. The submission I describe here as one possible example, and it is an actual submission, is roughly 3 times the size of even the largest TI feature article, and perhaps 1.5 times again the size of an average issue of Complete Anachronist. As I picture it, these pieces would appear on the website in their entirety, with a short synopsis and a short selection to appear in a corresponding print issue of Tournaments Illuminated, along with a link to the complete article on the website. One example of the sort of content that could appear under this heading is a feature submitted to TI by a longtime SCA member titled On Building a Castle. In it, the author discusses the construction of his own home by himself with the assistance of family members and friends over the course of some 4 decades, including many modern conveniences, but using techniques practiced in society period. And in fact, the author lives in California Central Valley, and so do my parents. And at one point, my mother said, I want to know. We were in name of town here the other day, and we drove past a castle, and I know you would know whose that is. And sure enough, in this one instance I did, but that's what we're talking about, is that it really, he's not just using the techniques. It looks like what it is. It's a castle. The piece gives an overview of everything from sanitation to stonework, to building layout, to windows, paralleling work done on the home site with similar work done in society period, and drawn on for inspiration. The text is accompanied by a very large number of striking color images. To Build a Castle is only one of the submissions that I have received during my tenure as TI editor that would lend itself to presentation on the website in this way. I feel that the addition of Tournaments Illuminated Presents, or whatever else we'd like to call it, would offer opportunities for increased member and reader engagement and interest, and allow an additional society-centric outlet for members to share projects and activities internationally across the 20 kingdoms of the known world on subjects that might not otherwise fit within the usual SCA publication parameters. I'd be happy to answer questions or discuss this further if board members would like to do so at a time and place of your choosing. I thank you for the opportunity to bring this idea to you. And that is the end of my request.
Thank you. Director Regner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. That's an excellent proposal. I think it has a lot of merit. What I would like to request, what I would like to do is make a motion to refer your request to the web minister and IT for further work, to return to the board after working with you with a proposal, if that's possible.
Sure.
Is there a second? I'm sorry, is there a second? Second, Director Crockmull. This is, one second, this is essentially a motion to table and return back. Is there, okay, so can we have a vote on the motion? All those in favor, please raise your hands. Okay, motion carries unanimously.
Yay.
Darcy O'Neill, is there anything else that you wanted to add?
Why, yes, I was going to ask, I keep seeing Duke Bear Killer with his hand up, and it's and I keep waiting for, oh, you know, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to be talking right now, but all right, I will go on with the report then.
Well, one second,
Sure.
before we move on with the report, President Fulton, did you have something to add specifically to the proposal?
Yeah, I just have a quick question or two.
Sure.
So this will be added to the SCA.org website or a separate website?
If you're asking me, I wasn't sure whether it would go on the TI pages or on the newsletter pages or both or anywhere else. As far as I'm concerned, as long as it's out there virtually somewhere and I can tell people where to go to find it, it doesn't matter to me where it gets put.
Well, I asked that question because I think to bring in the other individuals who be responsible for this, I do not think it takes a board vote to approve it. I think it just needs consensus. So we need to understand that there is some leeway for officers to do some things in this area. And this is definitely, I believe, part in one or two offices' job things because it sounds great.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we can discuss that. Get it to the right place.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that this is not something that actually needs board action, that this is something that can be done on an officer's level without further action from the board. Is that correct?
Yes, as long as, and I think the thing to make sure to refer to the officers that'll be involved in the creation of the actual site itself is wonderful. And maybe you might want to just, when it is done and ready, let the board know that you are planning on implementing with all these other officers.
Okie doke.
Thank you.
Will do.
We're gonna fix this in 1 second, Ms. Luther Fulton. Director Colson.
I'd just like to commend you as the TI editor for thinking about how we can reach a wider audience and increase engagement and provide information to our membership, our participants, and other interested people by making changes as you see fit. So I really thank you for addressing a need that you saw to be filled.
Golly, thank you. It's the least I can do. I get a lot out of this game. I'd like to put something back in it.
Okay, so 1 second. Procedurally, Director Regner, we would do a motion to rescind the motion to table.
Yes, Chairman, we could do that. I'm not sure about the specifics. Since it was technically a requested board action in a report, I thought that it needed a motion to table, just to make sure that it didn't look like we failed to take action on a request. But I'm happy to take feedback from legal counsel or more experienced members of this group for feedback. But to speak to the parliamentary effect, we would need a 2/3 majority vote to rescind that from the minutes, if that's what this body wants to do.
That I believe that procedurally that's what we need to do because this wasn't something that needed board action. So in that respect, would someone like to make a motion to rescind the motion to table?
I will.
So motion by Director Regner. Is there a second? Second by Director Crockmull. All those in, does this require discussion? It's no discussion, right? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. All right, motion carries unanimously. So for the audience, for those of you that don't know, Director Regner is our House parliamentarian. He knows the rules probably better than all of us combined. And even being a lawyer, I would not pretend to know half as much about these rules as Director Regner. So we often turn to him when we run into these parliamentary snafus. And that's what we just had to correct. Ms. Luther Fulton, does that correct it for the minutes for you?
Actually, that's fine. I need clarification on who exactly this is being returned to for work. There were a number of officers mentioned.
It was IT and web minister, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, that being said, the matter is returned to the officer for further work with consensus of the board, and you can now continue with your report.
Okay, if I may say one more thing before I do, I presented it as a request for board action because I'm very conscious of the fact that I am a steward of this publication. And its servant, and I'm also very conscious of the fact that it is a corporate publication and it represents all of us and is, an official SCA publication and all that implies. So I'm very, very careful with it, and I promise. I think, and I will be working with IT and the web minister going forward, and I hope to have results for you by the next quarterly meeting. And fortunately, I have no policy interpretations or new policies. Commendations. I thank TI's peerless art director, Joyce Morris, that's Mistress Gwendolyn of Amberwood, for her adaptability, support, and continuing encouragement in the face of unforeseen complications with issue 217 in particular, as well as the usual everyday concerns of issue production. I also want to express my particular appreciation to TI authors Beth Wolf, Mistress Elspeth of Stillwater, and Tim and Debbie Coyle, Master Timothy S. Zachariah, and Mistress Lynette de Sandoval, all of Caid, for their understanding and assistance with this issue. I regret that a late-breaking need to shuffle and replace content has meant that issue 217 is going to the printer in the coming week, some 4 to 6 weeks later than I had originally indicated. I learned I won't be doing that again. I apologize for this further delay. I was replacing content that had been redirected from issue 218, so I mean to have that issue ready for the printer soon. Issues 219 and 220 are in production. 221 is in planning stages. Owing to the content reshuffle, the quest topic for issue 218 is tentatively scheduled for SCA Culinary Adventures in conjunction with coverage of the virtual West Coast Culinary Symposium. Owing to reader and contributor interest, issue 219, the quest will return to the topic of ranged weapons. For issue 220, the quest topic tentatively scheduled is the project that taught me the most. Submissions to or questions about quest topics are welcome and should be sent to the editor at tieditor@sca.org. No travel. Publishable summary. Tournaments Illuminated issue 217 is going to press in the coming week, to be followed in 4 to 6 weeks, he said, crossing his fingers, by issue 218. Issues 219 and 20 are in production. Issue 221 is on the drawing board. And that concludes my report.
Yay.
All right, the board accepts your report by consensus, and once again, your work is extraordinary, and we couldn't ask for a better steward. Thank you.
Thank you. That's quite possibly the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me. I'm not kidding you. Thank you so much.
All right. Next, Society Chronicler. Miss Rawson.
Oh, no,
I'm sorry. I skipped. I apologize. It's Complete Anarchist. Ms. Rawson.
Yeah, complete anachronist, editor, sorry. Not even anarchist. So this is the first quarter 2022 report for the complete anachronist. Requested board actions, policy interpretations, new policies, none. For commendations, many thanks go to Mia Reed. That's for complete anachronist 194, recreating Elizabethan and Jacobean theatrical performance. Although it was published a little later than planned, it did become 2021's fourth quarter publication. Thanks also must go to her reviewers, Jeff Barry, Stephen Dempsey, and Elizabeth Fulkin. Many, many kudos also, per usual, to Elise Fleming for her eagle-eyed assistance with copy editing, and to Sue Gilbert for her expert layout and design work, along with her patience, particularly regarding images. I had early thanks go to Gerald Livings, who is currently, is finalizing his long planned and long drafted and long delayed complete anachronist on Eglitz. He expects to send me his final copy later this week, which most likely will be CA 195. There's a change to that. I generally send you a list that not everybody gets to hear of things in planning stages, when I get proposals, when I get partial manuscripts, etc. And of course, it takes people a while to finish things because they have real life and things happen. In summer of 2020, we were almost ready to go with a publication on Mongolian cookery, which I was really excited about. It had been reviewed, it had been peer reviewed, it had been revised, it was in the final editing stages. But unfortunately, the author and her family had some serious non-COVID related health issues. And so things were put on hold. Every few months I would write to her just saying, are you okay? How are things going? And I hadn't heard anything, so I actually took that one off the list that I sent to the board. But I still would occasionally just write just to check in, just to see how things were going. And in early April, after I sent her my report, I heard from her. Things are much, much better now. She and her family are much, much better. And she was able to finish up the couple of things, just a couple of minor things that were needed to publish. So I can tell you without further ado that CA 195 is, and you'll get all the thank yous next time for that one, but CA 195 is going to be titled Of Herd and Water, the Yuan Dynasty Mongolian Food Primer by Natalie Eckert of Lochak. It is currently with Sue Gilbert. She is doing the layout right now. And so I'm expecting to get approved back, within the next day or so. And so crossing fingers again, as to how things go with this sort of thing, crossing fingers once we get, the proofs worked out and everything, completely finalized and sent to the publisher, it should go to the publisher in May. And it should be, I hope, mailed out in May. So it's late, but hopefully not too late. So that was just, it's something of, just keeping up. One of the things with the job I didn't appreciate is just sort of keeping in touch with people and, making, checking in to see how they are and, seeing how things are going. So it does work out. And so with the Aglet one will probably be 190, will be 196. Okay. So, and with any luck, that will come out on time. Okay, so I'm just really happy about, trying to get things caught up and not being so late with things. Okay, so I guess really quick thanks ahead of time early to Natalie Eckert for sticking with all of this. Her reviewers were Alex Story and Craig Jones, so thanks to them. Elise Fleming, just this week, last week offered to, we haven't looked at this since sometime in 2020, do you want me to help you just go through it and see if there are any typos we missed last time? Amazing, after 19 months, how typos stand out. And so I really want to thank Elise for doing that. And again, for Sue, for the work that she's doing right now, probably as I speak. Publish a little summary then, moving to that, so we'll get to the right page. This was about CA 194, recreating Elizabethan and Jacobean theatrical performance. Recreating theatrical performance from centuries ago can involve many factors, including historical period style, pronunciation, and speech, as best as we know, what costumes or clothes are worn, etc. A lot of research goes into presenting a performance in a similar style to how it would have been seen when it was performed originally. Dramaturgy is the term for theatrical research for the production of a play, and this complete anachronist strives to perform the role of a dramaturg, focusing on Elizabethan and Jacobean theatre. I will go ahead and write up a new publishable summary soon for 195, which really I hope will be, to Joyce and to the publisher within a week or two. Crossing my fingers on that. So thank you very much, and that ends my report.
Thank you very much. The board accepts your report by consensus. And we turn to Society Chronicler this time, for sure. Ms. Dupré?
Yes. Oh, good. I'm not muted. Okay, presenting the Society Chronicler report for first quarter from Crystal Smith, known in the Society as Mistress Cecilia Blythe. No board actions, policy interpretations, or policies. From Crystal, my gratitude to Countess Honor and Mistress Ariana for their continuing tremendous help in transitioning this office. General status report. The Kingdom Chroniclers are working very hard to fill the newsletters with interesting content, and events are picking up again. Publishable summary. I am new to the job and learning as I go with the help of the publications manager, excuse me, and the previous Society Chronicler. Things have been smooth sailing so far. Nothing for known world summary and no travel. So short and sweet from the Society Chronicler.
All right, that is accepted on consensus of the board. And we turn to the Society Treasurer, Bonnie Stringer.
Bonnie.
Good evening, or good morning in some cases. Let me get, I'm doing 2 reports here, so trying to get them in the right order. The following is for the first quarter of 2022. We have no requested board actions, no policy interpretations, no new policies, commendations. Many thanks to Mizelle. You all know she's done so much work in the treasurer's office and continues to work as our tax specialist, and we can't say how much we appreciate her. And Carol and I have been piggybacking for the treasurer's office, so this transition from Mizelle to me to Carolyn would be as smooth and seamless as possible. So thank you, Carolyn. General status, the SCA corporate office is still operating under a negative balance for the first quarter of 2022 due to decrease in membership revenue and non-member registration fees. Some savings are now hitting the books since the office moved from Milpitas to San Jose. Louise helped a lot with that. Thank you so much. The publishable summary, the SCA corporate office, again, is still operating in a negative balance for 2022. The old post office will be closed in the next few months. We've been trying to reach out to everybody, make sure they use the new one. And we must continue to remain diligent and stay within budget whenever possible. I'm gonna let Carolyn do the actual number part of it because she has worked on that portion. Thank you.
Thank you. The board accepts your report by consensus. And on to the Exchequer, hat number 2.
Mr. Chair, if you'd please allow Carolyn, she can give you some more numbers of how our budget is.
Absolutely.
Sorry about that. I have gone into our QuickBooks file and entered the budget numbers that from the approved budget into QuickBooks so that we can run comparisons now between where we are and where we should be. I expressed to both Bonnie and Mizelle before I went on my vacation that I'm concerned that our net loss is about 4 times what we budgeted for the first 2 months of this year. So when we say that we would like everybody to exercise some due diligence, we really mean it, because we can't continue at that kind of loss rate. My plan for the next couple of weeks is to actually go through some of the QuickBooks and see if there's something else going on there that's causing that kind of loss, and if we need to revise the budget at some point this year. But that's pretty much it. I have not had a whole lot of time since I returned from France on Monday to get into the nitty-gritty on that.
Thank you. And the board accepts your report. The board accepts your report by consensus. I apologize. Did we cover the Kingdom of Attenvelt? Ms. Luther-Fulton?
My understanding is that Carolyn was continuing the treasurer's report, was she not? You haven't really started on the exchequer yet, have you?
Correct.
Oh, I apologize. Sorry. I'll be quiet. You go ahead.
I'm pretty much done, so.
Yeah, 'cause that's the other part is the exchequer.
All right, go right ahead.
Hey, excuse me, I closed the wrong box. I apologize, Mr. Chair. Okay, again, this is for the first quarter of 2022. I do have one requested, well, two requested board actions. One is to approve the Kingdom of Adenvelt for their registration, SCA registration system policy, SCARS policy. Their PayPal policy had been returned for rework.
Director Regner.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the Adenvelt SCARS policy as presented by the Society Exchequer.
Is there a second? Second, Director Krochmal. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Leslie has already discussed the warrant for Jennifer Montgomery for Gulf Wars. So that was already done. Have no policy interpretations, no new policies, commendations. I want to thank the entire Gulf Wars Exchequer and Gates staff. If any of those, if y'all attended that event, you could see how smooth it went this year. You were able to actually drive up if you were pre-registered, show your card, and you was able to get your medallion and go right in. This whole system has been in the works for about 4 years, and this whole staff was wonderful, and I just can't sing their praises enough. They've been wonderful, and I thanked them there, but I want to thank them here too. And also I'd like to thank Mistress Christina. She is our society NMR deputy. She is diligently keeping up with the NMR payments. She makes sure the kingdoms report, and she and I do like about a quarterly. We make sure the kingdoms have sent their check. We see the check in QuickBooks to help the cash flow at the corporate office. So she does a lot behind the scenes. So I want to thank her. We have no variances. General status, we have 13 kingdoms that have already completed their 2021 consolidated reports, and maybe one or two have come in since then. Publishable summary, we're discovering bugs in the SCA registration systems. These are being amplified due to the large number of events being held. The corporate office is aware of this issue, and they are being worked on as they're discovered. And kingdoms that are approved for PayPal per society PayPal policy may continue to use PayPal. Kingdoms and groups that must maintain a clean financial house, all reports, all their NMRs payments in, and they must be current. PayPal here is used for at the door credit card payments. Again, their financial policy must be updated to use PayPal Zettle. and we can provide training as needed. For travel, I did attend Gulf Wars. It's an hour away from me, so that's a normal event for me. And that does conclude my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Ms. Stringer and Ms. Richardson. The board accepts the Exchequer's report by consensus. And we will turn to Laurel Queen of Arms, Jennifer Smith.
Turning on the mic would be helpful. G'day, I have 6 items in the requested board action, and I apologize in advance for the gory details, but you know how we heralds like to write things down. All of these are changes to SCA, which is the Standards for Evaluation of Names in Armory. The first one is a minor wording approval to the constructed monsters area, which lets you make up monsters out of existing monsters and animals that were found in period, not just those that were actually found in period armory. So for example, monsters that we see in a manuscript or in a story or whatever, but we didn't actually see them in period heraldry, but you can still use them to make stuff. The second one is approval of a change to A3B1 tinctures and their classifications to allow the addition of wings to animate and inanimate charges. So we had this really stupid wording in the rule. I say that's not really fair, but anyway, we have an idea that you can have a charge that is colored the way it is in real life. We call that proper, like a fox proper. It's red with little white tips on its feet and tails and so on. But you couldn't add wings to one proper because we don't have winged foxes in real life. But that doesn't actually jive with period armory practice where they stuck wings on literally anything of any color. And so we tweaked the wording so you can do that. The third change is a change to PN1B2G, existing registration allowance. So this is the section of the rules that lets you register a new name using part of a name that you already have registered or that is registered to a legal relative, like your father, your real life father has some such name registered in the SCA and you want to be Bob's daughter or whatever. So we're altering that rule to let you change the gender as you like. So because in some languages the gender has to be consistent in a name. English is not really one of those, but like in Norse you have so-and-so's daughter, so-and-so's son, and so we're letting you be a lot more flexible in the kinds of changes that you can make to an existing name element. Along those same lines, we're also sticking in there, we have name elements that were registered once upon a time that are now we consider offensive and you can't register them anymore. This is generally like the gypsy or some certain German town place names. So you can still have those names, but you can't register that under the existing registration allowance. Only the actual person can do that. So like your real life sister or daughter or whatever could not have that bit of name. And then in relation with that, to help people understand how to make gendered by names based on existing name phrases, we created an entire appendix with all the gory detail rules for how to do this. For people who are not names experts like me, I have to read this myself. And the fifth item is a change to our name phrase requirements and name requirements to update a description of an appendix. We have Appendix A, which is, I can't even remember the actual name. I always call it Appendix A for awesome because it is a list of a bunch of cultures and how names are formed in those cultures. And for some reason, originally it was entitled Important European Languages. Well, it actually covers more than Europe, and so we wanted to strike that language from it. And then the last item is a change to our name requirements. which treats names, phrases submitted under the legal name allowance as gender neutral. So for example, you can always use part of your real name in your SCA name. But if your mundane name modernly is sort of a masculine name, but you want to register a feminine name in the SCA, we want to let you be able to do this. And I believe that's all of my requested board actions.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Chairman, I move that we approve the name changes to the standards for evaluation of names in Armory as presented by Laurel Queen of Arms.
Is there a second? Second, Director Colson. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hands. I'm missing Dan's card, but motion carries unanimously. There it is.
What, Dan didn't have questions? I mean, okay, on to policy interpretations. These are changes to our appendices, and I'm going to go through them kind of quick. We updated our Appendix A for awesome to include double descriptive bynames in Old Norse. So people who want to do double descriptive bynames, here's how you do it. Appendix D, which is our acceptable transliteration systems for non-Latin scripts. We include Old English. So if you want to register your Old English name and you don't want to do those funny characters, here's how you do it. We do allow that. We have some more information on Arabic transliteration. In our glossary of terms, we updated our definitions of what is a cornucopia proper. Now you can look that up. And then lastly, we had a couple of changes to our admin handbook appendices. We have an appendix for standard form letters, and we added one that allows groups to grant permission to conflict for an augmentation. We already allowed this, but this is a standard form letter, so they don't have to try to come up with the wording on their own. And we added a link to an armorial source. We highly recommend the Dictionary of British Arms Medieval Ordinary. It is actually available online, so we added that in the web address to it. I have no new policies. I do have a number of commendations. So I'd like to commend Cormac Moore, Kevin Rhodes, who's stepping down as quarterstaff herald. He created this position when he was Wreath King of Arms to help those submitters that send in a piece of artwork that is really close, but there's something wrong with it. We really shouldn't register it, but we didn't want to return it because that's like another 9 months you have to wait. So he created this position to offer to do some redraws, and we cut that down to like 2 months. And that has been a very successful program, made a lot of people really happy. His successor in this is Ragnar Strada Ulstadter. And so I wanted to thank him a lot for getting that program started and underway and quite successful. I had a couple of Principal Herald changeovers. Katarina Levichka, I'm going to mispronounce that, is stepping down as Principal Herald of North Shield. Isolde Pediquer is her successor. Katarina served during the pandemic, and so I'm sure is greatly appreciating the vacation. Conovar McMitchell, long-serving and long-suffering for his Golden Wing Principal Herald of Artemisia. He had been Golden Wing for like 5 or 6 years, which is just crazy. And I'm very happy that he found a good successor, Carl Braden von Sonderheim, and I expect that he is taking his well-earned rest. Atlantia Eldred Elfwald is stepping down as Triton Principal Herald, with Gisela von Kreuzbach is stepping back into the office. She had been Principal Herald like, I don't know, 10 years back or something. And then we had a relatively new Principal Herald of Avakal, Saab Joffrey's daughter, had to step down because she is now the Crown Princess of Avakal, which is like, darn. But she found a interim successor, Phelan O'Dally, and I wanted to thank all of them for their service. Another person I would like to thank is Kalinikos Gavra. We've been registering more names from outside of Europe, and one of the places people have expressed interest is Nahuatl, which is Aztec, Indian, or American Indian name stuff. And he has found a really good new source and has done a good amount of documentation and research on it. And we'd like to thank him for bringing that source to our attention and increasing that bit of our knowledge. And then lastly, I'd like to thank Rusty for all his help with the IT needs of the Herald's office. If the SCA is full of nerds, Heralds are the nerds of the nerds. And we use technology a lot. I'm certain that outside of the board and the directors in general, we're the ones who have been the most annoying to him. And I thank you for being willing to work with our own IT folks, and I hope that we've occasionally been useful in return, and look forward to a continuing partnership there. I didn't stick it in my report, but I also wanted to thank Patrick for being his usual useful self over all the years, and I look forward to having him back as a Herald. General status report. The next Known World Heraldic and Scribal Symposium is going to be virtual again this year because we just couldn't pull it together as a in-person last minute. It will be in July, hosted by the Kingdom of Von Steuer and the Principality of Windheim. Most of our kingdoms are either accepting or are working on accepting PayPal for heraldic submissions, and they are all very happy about that, and I look forward to getting all of them on board. Publishable summary. In January, we had our second mid-year virtual Known World Heraldic and Scribal Symposium. We had nearly 300 people registered for the event, and we had 50 hours of classes. And again, this ran pretty much around the clock, so we could have time slots that worked for Locke and Drachenwald as well. I'd like to thank the full team who ran it. Was Alexandra Vazquez de Granada from Calontir, Sarah Algarnatia from Verdiers, Groza Novgorodskaya from Glenavon, and they had help from Abakal, Saab Dopri's daughter, Arwen of Leicester, and Aisha Rehana Al-Karim, who will be the team taking over doing it next January. And we had plenty of people who helped moderate the rooms and recordings and did the Discord and so on. The virtual and the Known World has been a great success, and we're going to continue to do that every year. And that's pretty much it for my report.
Thank you. The board accepts your report by consensus. Next up is Society Marshal Ray Dubois.
Hello, everyone. Let's see, let me get my report pulled back up. I did have a requested board action. We reverted a couple of changes and did some small corrections in the handbook for some misspelled items and such from the past. I hope y'all had time to take a look at it, and would like to submit those for approval, for review and approval, if you haven't already reviewed them.
Okay. Director Regner.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept and approve the changes to the Marshal's Handbook and his other submitted policy revisions effective April 24th, 2022.
Seconded by Director Colson. Any discussion or questions? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand or your card, as the case may be. Yes, motion carries unanimously.
I'll take it. Thank you. Let's see, no new policy interpretations, no new policies. Commendations. Once again, excuse me for mispronunciation of names. I tried to get my wife to come do this for me. She refused. But I would like to start off with commending Duke Pedrug de Clogod of Glenavon, who was marshal in charge of the past Gulf Wars, for the fine job in a difficult position. I would also like to thank Master William of Effingham for his work with the Marshal's Handbook and helping revise that. I'd also like to thank Mistress Bricka and Mistress Barbara for always helping out at Inspection Point at Gulf Force. They've been a cornerstone of Marshall's Point down there for years and years and years, and very much appreciated. The laser pillar of sanity and organization for the Marshals, and always Muriel for her support and help. Thank you. Let's see. Also, the Deputy Society Marshal for Armored Combat, it states that Duke Padrug did an outstanding job as the Marshal in charge of Gulf Wars this year. The Deputy Society Marshal for Armored Combat, Rebated Steel, would like to commend Ulrich the Mad and Carrie Kell O'Connor for help with steel in Atlantia. The Deputy Society Marshal for Combat Archery would like to commend Countess Brenna Jerbeck for a well-run Gulf Wars. The Deputy Society Marshal for Equestrian would like to commend Reese La Horseman, Dennis Riddlemore, of all the hard work during the pandemic, helping with organization Gulf Wars. He was super flexible and positive when all the cancellations would happen. He really worked hard getting everyone organized before the war could happen. He focused on everyone's safety as well as horses' safety, and was a pleasure to work with. He really stepped up to the plate in those unconventional times. The Deputy Society Marshal for Youth Combat, I would like to commend several people in the West Kingdom. Lady, oh my God, Lady, yeah, okay. There's no part of this name I could actually pronounce. Honey.
Lafina of Walkerville.
Lafina of Yockerville? Is that it?
I would say Lafina.
Yeah, we're consensus here. That's probably close. As mentioned, is really stepping up to get youth combat going again there. In the middle, Angus Robertson has stepped down, highly praised by his successor for a long and very successful tenure for the kids there. And Meridies, the Honorable Lord David Duckworth, who was local youth combat marshal, has stepped up to oversee all the actions for the kids at Gulf Wars, a big job that he's very capable of. Finally, in North Shield, Luffwine, Luffwine. Yeah, I don't know what to say there.
Bjorn Smith.
What was it?
Bjorn Smith.
Yeah, that. Thank you. We've asked for phonetics, but pronunciation of these, we're still not getting it, obviously.
Ray, I believe you are contractually obligated to say all of these names. I'm really going to miss this part.
This is so painful. And Elgren, Senor, Alton. Oh my God, what kind of name is that? Hold on, it went away. Hold on. It's look, this is the Marshal's office, not the Herald's office. Okay. Antolin L. What?
Tenante.
What? Tenante? Okay. Have been doing an amazing job holding practice at Public Park with attendance often around 15 fighters, and they continually are getting a lot of attention from visitors from Youth Combat and SCA. The Deputy Society Marshal for Siege Weapons states kudos to Baroness Catriana and Alan Stewart for continuing to push siege in her kingdom and during the slow times we have encountered. Okay. General status report. At this time, 16 kingdoms and 6 society deputies have reported. With activities opening back up, it would be a good idea to refamiliarize yourself with the kingdom and society marshals handbooks. Make sure to check your armor for fit and wear, and there have been reports of higher than normal fit and failures. It seems like coming out of this pandemic, people were not the size they went in, and armor is not fitting correctly, so please check your armor. Let's see, and publishable summary. As we roll into spring and the weather starts to heat up, please make sure to stay hydrated. Also, remember to keep the channels of communications open on the field with other fighters. Cool heads prevail and get much better results than just getting angry and walking away. Make sure to check your weapons and armor, make sure that they're still in good repair. There have been several reports of calibration issues, so be cognizant of calibration. while everyone is getting back into the swing of being out there, please continue to stay safe and follow your local government and kingdom mandates. And then the cutoff for resumes that's passed for the Deputy Society, Drop Dead Marshal for myself, and Target Archery and Thrown Weapons Marshal, and Emergency Replacement. Somehow I got that backwards. And the Emergency Replacement Deputy for myself. I'm currently reviewing them and scheduling interviews. Travel, I did not make it to Gulf Wars, which in hindsight was a mistake because I received about 30-40 phone calls through Gulf Wars for questions. So the only travel I'm looking at planning is potentially the Penzic to be there for that. And that is all.
I see your hand, President Fulton.
Oh my God. John raised his hand. You have some questions, John?
Thank you, Chairman. So the Society Herald has volunteered her time to help you. This is like the fourth meeting in a row, and I know you do your own reports, and I know you practice this prior to the meeting, but going forward, please do a better job on presentation of these very important people's names in the society, because I think you would benefit from that and they would be greatly appreciative. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Anything else for the Society Marshal? All right. The board accepts your report by consensus.
Thank you.
Actually, I did have a question. Did you cover the youth incident report? Or you doing that separate?
I was not going to cover. I didn't know if we covered that on this piece, or if that was in another session.
Director Regner?
Yeah, just a point of order. I think that's I believe that's in the confidential section, right?
Yeah, we haven't typically gone over injuries and such, or any issues like that on this conference, but.
Well, my understanding is that it's not an injury from what I read, but it is in the, it's on the agenda, which is why I'm asking. So this does not belong on the agenda then. Okay, let's move on to Sarah Noble McGee, Minister of Arts and Science.
Good afternoon. This is my report for the first quarter of 2022. We have 3 new Minister of Arts and Sciences deputies. Our Deputy for Women's Studies has signed on for a second term, Lady Isa Ingan Donkeda. We have a new deputy for our Science Division, Lord Cataldo Carini, and a new deputy for Historical Combat Studies, Warder Rafael de Marisi. I'm very thankful for these 3 people for stepping up into these positions. Going on to commendations, Arts and Sciences always has commendations. First, I'd like to thank and offer commendations to all of our Kingdom Science, Arts and Sciences officers for their constant adjustment as we move from COVID closures into the world of hybrid and reopening in-person activities. Congratulations to Athol Merks Barony of Peace Corps, who held their annual virtual College of 3 Raven Schola. They had 27 classes taught by 23 teachers. Congratulations to Anstiora's newest Kingdom Artisan, the Honorable Lady Anne von Weiss. Commendations to Artemisia's Baroness Ramut Al-Tiaba, who has been hosting a weekly webcast, Road to Retention. Duke Sean Kirkpatrick Tarragon, who has been hosting several webcasts, including Coach's Corner and his What Makes a Night, and guest appearances on several webcasts that have been hosted around the known world. Laurel Maysoon, Alice Viana, and Baroness Helena Bocard, local baronies, Ministers of Arts and Science. Commendations go to the University of Atlantia staff and instructors for holding 2-day online session with about 140 classes and 750 students. Thank you to the Honorable Lady Emelode of Calais for her years of service as Elder Mayor's Kingdom Minister of Arts and Sciences. Congratulations to East Kingdom for successfully running East Goes East, an online teaching event focusing on Asian art and history. Commendations to Lord Bjorn Samunderson of Lockett for his work as editor of the Cockatrice for the past 2 years, and to Lady Mathilde Fike-Seat, who will be the new editor of the Cockatrice. Congratulations to Mistress Catherine Kerr, who won first place in the experienced category with a wardrobe of garb for herself and her consort in the Kingdom ANS competition. To Lord Dietrich Lear, who took first and second place in the intermediate and beginner categories with Sharab al-Tufa, a pair of pickled onion recipes, a wire-wrapped pendant, and dipped tallow candles. Commendations to the staff of the Royal University of the Mid-Realm, who did an amazing job of an all-day online event, including over 250 attendees from 12 kingdoms and 47 classes, plus keynote speaker and lunchtime round. There were 38 different teachers, totaling more than 50 hours of teaching time. Post-event, there was a bardic circle welcoming all levels with approximately 30 performing art participants. Almost all of the classes were recorded and posted to the Royal University of Mid-Realm YouTube channel. Commendations to Master Eagle in the Outland Star of Draca Moore, who has been teaching people to make musical instruments like lyres and teleharpacellos. And a special thanks to Friar Galen of Occam for his years serving as the Society's very first Minister of Arts and Sciences Division Deputy. He has just stepped down and our new one has stepped up. Also, special thanks to Master Donovan Shannock for his years of service as the Minister of Arts and Sciences Deputy of Historic Combat Studies. For my publishable summary, the Society for Creative Anachronism continues to fulfill its mission to research and recreate the arts and skills of the pre-17th century world. This quarter has seen online universities, collegia, competitions, Zoom gatherings, classes, and workshops. While the overall number of these events continues to be reduced slightly from previous pandemic quarters, there is still a prominent way the arts and sciences are being explored and shared. Kingdom and local officers continue to adjust and adapt to the changing ways in which we do arts and sciences activities, including working towards hybrid online and in-person activities and displays. The Society Minister of Arts and Sciences has an official Facebook presence located at facebook.com/Society Minister Arts and Sciences. This page allows members to receive information about arts and sciences activities throughout the known world and encourages them to share their own projects, promote local artisans, and connect with others who share their interests. I plan to continue Facebook Fun with various work focus on areas of arts and sciences and possibly the occasional spotlight as the opportunity arises. As the Society officer, I'm continuing outreach through the Kingdom officers to help encourage and support officers from Kingdom level all the way through to branch officers. I continue to maintain an email response time to warranted officers of no more than 48 hours, except for when I'm away at in-person events. There were no travel expenses during this reporting period. I did go to Gulf Wars, which is a normal thing and self-funded. While there, we hosted a meet and greet for Kingdom Ministers of Arts and Sciences, and that was very enjoyable for all who attended. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my report for the first quarter of 2022.
Thank you very much. The board accepts your report by consensus. We're almost at the end, folks. Turning next to standing committees, Peerage Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Without objection from the board, I'm going to be presenting the reports for the Peerage Committee and the Census Committee. They're both pretty brief. I think I'd just like to start with the Census Committee. I noticed that there's an item 3 that is related to Peerage. Just like to cover those two at the same time.
Sure.
So please Good day to you all, good members of the board. This is I'll read the report from the Census Committee. Requested board actions, none. Policy interpretations, none. New policies, none. Commendations, none. General status report, as reported earlier, the qualitative analysis has been delayed. The committee is working on it now and expects some reporting in the summer, and they encourage kingdoms and officers to ask for the data they need. Publishable summary. This is repeated from the report from the January quarterly meeting. The 2020 SCA Census Committee is pleased to announce that the Kingdom Seneschals or individuals authorized by the Seneschal can request from the census by completing the online format, and there's an online form listed. The request will be communicated to the chair of the 2020 SCA Census Committee and tracked over time to document where the census data reports have been shared. Reports will include statistical and qualitative information in summary form and will not contain any personally identifiable information. Sincerely, Julia Smith, the chair of the SCA 2020 Census Committee. This concludes the report for the Census Committee.
Thank you very much. The board accepts the report as presented by consensus.
Thank you. Moving on to the Peerage Committee. Onto the board of directors as the chairperson, Greg Regner for the Peerage Committee, send greetings. Requested board actions. The committee is requesting that the proposed corporate changes for a proposed new peerage be reviewed by the board of directors. As you'll remember, and this is skipping ahead to the general status report, the committee, on direction of the January board meeting, was tasked with preparing those proposed changes that would be required for a new peerage creation. The committee has prepared those, has included them in the report, and my personal recommendation would be that it be included as a planning session item before the next quarterly meeting. Publishable summary. Committee has prepared potential corporate changes for proposed additional peerage. That concludes the Peerage Committee report.
Thank you, Director Watson. The board accepts the report, the committee report, by consensus, and I ask Director Bainter that you please add this to the schedule for the next planning session. And that comes to the near conclusion of our agenda. At this time, I would give Mr. Anderson the floor for just a moment.
Thank you. Just two actually kind of really quick things. First, thank you all. I'm writing a Facebook post right now to thank people, but I can't tag enough people. Just simply can't. And I'm going to tell you, as much fighting and arguments and everything else I've had with this board, you guys are great. And I look forward to watching you do all the good things that you're doing. Currently the territorial baron at Skogan, and that's it. And once I'm done taking at least a year off, I know people think I'm going to be sitting in these meetings at some point in the future because I'll volunteer for something, but hell no, I'm done. I've been working at a corporate level since 2002, and I haven't stopped. 1 quarter off. I'm a little crazy. But beyond just saying that I'm a little crazy, I did a count earlier. I worked with approximately 41 board members, and that's just since I've been president and legal. I say approximately because a few people have duplicated terms, so Al Simon, I'm looking at you, so I can't really know for sure. The one thing that occurs to me is that the boards have, for the most part, been from every kingdom, and I acknowledge Drachenwald and Lockhart have been really difficult to get board members from there for various and sundry reasons. So I'm not ignoring you guys, I just recognize there's been difficulties. But when I say most kingdoms, I mean most kingdoms in North America. We've had ones from each of the kingdoms that are completely Canadian. We've had ones from, almost every kingdom. Almost. Folks, these people are great. The 41 people I've worked with are great. They know their stuff, but they represent a very, in some ways, small subset of the SCA. We need more people, and we need more people from every kingdom. I'm looking down the list right now at the kingdoms who are represented on the board nominee list, and it's kind of slim. And there are a great number of kingdoms that are missing from that list. There are a great number of kingdoms that, or several kingdoms I've seen that are missing from the 41. You don't have to be a peer to be on the board. You don't have to be a territorial baron or former crown or anything like that to be on the board. You can be random person with an AOA in your kingdom. It's not a popularity contest. It's not a education contest. I've had everybody from school teachers to lawyers and everything in between. It's knowing the SCA, loving the SCA, and wanting to help the SCA. I post a lot of shit on Facebook about this, and frankly, I'm not going to repeat it, but if you have questions, feel free to come to me or any of these fine people here. It's just trying to keep the SCA running, and more importantly, helping the good things in the SCA continue to happen. A lot of bad shit. There's a lot of bad stuff that's happened since I've been doing this. We fixed a lot of things. Dale called it right. I think it was Dale that called it right, or John that called it right, that there's a lot of things people don't see. If you don't see them, we're doing our jobs, all of us. But volunteer. Become the, you know, at this point, it's calling all these people, become the 42nd, 3rd, 50th person that I've seen on board since 2006. Do these things. Volunteer, it's good. Otherwise, there's been 41 board members, and I want to thank them all. There's been, I don't want to think about how many officers I wanted to work with, how many advisors, how many friends, and really thank you all. And specifically, and very much so, I know she's not watching, Renee Signorati's mom, and will always be mom. Leslie Luther Fulton is one of the few people I know that is utterly sane and completely crazy all at the same time, and I love her dearly. John Fulton is the guy I want to grow up to be when I grow up. Of course, that assumes he's going to grow up. So in the meantime, he'll be my crazy uncle. And there he is, Aaron Lloyd, Rusty, my brother. And I mean that sincerely. Everything but blood. You and I have done this so often, so well. Shit, we have had people calling him in the car in St. Louis, talking to him and then saying, hey, put Patrick on. We're like, how do you know that I'm in the car? Rusty's in the car, not at the meeting. You're there too. Oh. So we'll go have drinks later, my friend. Thank you all. I appreciate it. I appreciate everything you guys do, and I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to serve. And since I hate being emotional, I'm done. Wait, actually, you know what? Sincerely, I'm done. Bye, y'all.
He's done.
All right, and now we will turn this over to Rusty for a few minutes.
Sure, just for a couple minutes. I think Patrick said a lot of what I was thinking about saying, and I actually put a post on Facebook as well, and Bot Squad as well. But there was something else I thought of. I think that would be really great. When people ask me about who are peers or who are people they look up to the society, I always use the word exemplar, right? To be an example of the things that you want to see in the SCA. And all of you on this call and all of you attendees have proven that. You stand up. You've been standing up. You've been standing up in your kingdoms. You've been standing up in your interests within the society. You've been standing up in terms of corporate. And I would really like to ask you all, I will look at doing this as well, as to be exemplars of what we want the SCA to be, especially as we recover from the pandemic, right? I cannot tell you the number of messages I've seen about people being so very happy that they were able to go to events, or so very happy that they were able to do online things. And I think as we continue to take those steps forward, that's what we're going to need, right? That's what's going to help us inspire more people and continue this hobby that we all love so very well, right? It's taught us all innumerable things. I could not tell you what, you know, Argent a Benwise for with a sword was before I joined the SCA. I couldn't tell you what dog and waddle was. I couldn't tell you what the word Lands Connect was. I couldn't tell you why you should go to Britain and Italy and countries like that. And now I can. And also, with all of us, we look at chivalry, honor, and courtesy as things that we do every day. And so that's my ask of everyone. You know, I'm going to be doing it too. I certainly am not going anywhere, thank goodness. But thank you guys all for letting a kid from Brooklyn do this and do this for over 30 years and continue to have fun each and every day in doing it. You guys have all inspired me, whether we've argued or not argued, or had dinner or sent emails. And that's really important. And I think we can continue to do this for a long time and inspire people along the way. So thank you all very much for that.
All right, thank you very much. And at this time, I turn the gavel over to Director Watson. No. I don't turn the gavel over to Director Watson. I do something.
Almost, Mr. Chairman. I believe we still have some exec session items to go through.
They have to be read into the minutes.
Oh, sorry.
Nope, no worries.
Go for it.
Not exactly my favorite part of the meeting anyway, so let's do this.
Leslie, can't hear you. Can't hear you right now.
Oh no, I was muted. Sorry. All right. Okay. Executive session was opened on Saturday, April 23rd, 2022 at 12:11 p.m. Central Time and adjourned at 3:06 p.m. Central Time. Regarding David McDowell, motion by Gigi Colson to uphold the temporary removal from participation in the Society of David McDowell as issued by Vic and Aisha, Crown of the Kingdom of Abacal and their Kingdom Seneschal on January 28, 2022, to extend the temporary removal from participation, and further to direct the Society Seneschal to begin an investigation into possible sanctions up to and including revocation of membership and denial of participation. Second by Jennifer Crockmall, opposed none, motion carried. Heather Ann Armstrong, motion by Dan Watson to revoke the membership of and deny participation to Heather Ann Armstrong, effective immediately. Second by Natalie Dagerstrom, opposed none, motion carried. Robert Householder, Director Ross Regner recused himself from discussion of or action in this matter. Motion by Dan Watson to table, second by Pug Beckner. In favor, Pug Boehner, Dan Watson, opposed Gigi Colson, Natalie Dagerstrom, Jennifer Crockmall, motion fails. Motion by Pug Boehner to revoke the membership of and deny participation to Robert Householder, effective immediately, second by Natalie Dagerstrom, opposed none, recused Ross Rogner. Chair exercised his option to vote and did so in favor of the motion. Motion carried. Jeffrey Santo, motion by Pug Boehner to revoke the membership of and deny participation to Jeffrey Santo, effective immediately. Second by Ross Rogner. Opposed, none. Motion carried. Wayne Scrivener. Motion by Natalie Dagerstrom to revoke the membership of and deny participation to Wayne Scrivener, effective immediately, and to permit publication of same in both the Meridian and Kaid newsletters. Second by Ross Rogner. Opposed, none. Motion carried. Excuse me just a second. Sorry, allergy season in Memphis. Wayne Stevens. Motion by Dan Watson to revoke the membership of and deny participation to Wayne Stevens, effective immediately. Second by Gigi Colson. Opposed, none. Motion carried. Robert Transu. Motion by Dan Watson to revoke the membership of and deny participation to John Transu, effective immediately. Second by Jennifer Krochmal. Opposed, none. Motion carried. John Valungas. Motion by Gigi Colson to revoke the membership of and deny participation to John Valungas, effective immediately. Second by Dan Watson. Opposed, none. Motion carried. Bill Massaros, by consensus, no action was taken. Camber Menschel. Motion by Dan Watson to uphold the exile from the Kingdom of the West of Camber Menschel, issued by Miles and Jitka, Crown of the West Kingdom, on March 26, 2022. Second by Gigi Colson. Opposed, none. Motion carried. Motion by Gigi Colson to direct the Society Seneschal to issue a temporary removal from participation on Camber Menschel, and further to begin an investigation into possible sanctions up to and including revocation and denial of membership. Revocation of membership, and denial of participation. Second by Ross Rogner. In favor, Gigi Colson, Natalie Dagerstrom, Jennifer Krochmal, Ross Rogner. Opposed, Pug Baintner, Dan Watson. Motion carried. Robin Houts. By consensus, no action was taken. SCA legal update. The report of the president was accepted as presented. April 24th, 2022 subsidiaries action by written consent. All actions for the subsidiaries of the Society for Creative Anachronism are accepted by consensus. Director resignation. By consensus, the board accepts the resignation of Director Dan Watson, effective at the close of the April 24th, 2022 quarterly meeting. Director appointment. By consensus, the board accepts the appointment of KT Shepard to the position of Director, CF, effective at the close of the April 24th, 2022 quarterly meeting. Director selection, C8, Seat G. By consensus, no action was taken. Chair assignment. By consensus, no action was taken. Vice chair assignment. By consensus, no action was taken. Ombudsman assignments. Chair, Dale Fawn Frederick. Ombudsman for President, Society Seneschal Corporate Office, Executive Assistant, Financial Officers, Financial Committee. Vice Chair, Pug Baintner. Ombudsman for Heralds East, Kaid, and West. Director, Gigi Colson. Ombudsman for Ethelmark, Avacall, Dragonwald, Eldemere, Locock, DEI. Director, Natalie Dagerstrom. Ombudsman for Atlantia, Meridies, Middle, and Marshall. Director, Jennifer Krochmal. Ombudsman for Callantyre, North Shield, Outlands Communications Committee, Information Technology, including Webminister and Webmaster. Director, Ross Rogner. Ombudsman for Artemisia, Aidenfeld, A&S Publications, including TICA and Chronicler, Board Recruiting and Census Committee. Director, KT Shepard. Ombudsman for Ontario and Stiora, Glenaub, and Triamaris, and the Peerage Committee. And that closes your executive session.
Thank you very much. I do want to go back to the main agenda because making rookie mistakes, I skipped the last item on the agenda, which was the Valiance proposal update. the board acknowledges the submission of the Omnibus Marshall Peerage Proposal Committee, and I ask Director Bainter to please add that to the planning session schedule for the next quarterly meeting for further discussion. Now, that being said, I think it's time that I can turn the gavel over to Director Watson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Just a few closing words. It's traditional that outgoing board member gets to adjourn the meeting, and as I do so, I would just like to say that it's been a heck of a pandemic. We are all a little bruised from it, but we're still here, and we're moving forward, and we're planning to be here for a very, very long time. It's been a privilege to sit as part of the board for these past 3.5 years. It's been an honor to serve in the company of my fellow board members and corporate officers. It is rare and unique in my perspective, and I've had a lot of opportunities to work with a lot of people in a lot of different contexts. It is so rare to have so many truly dedicated and unselfish people who work together to keep and build this collective dream that we have. You are all heroes in my book. I look back on the time that I've been able to spend on the board and some of the individuals that I have had an opportunity to meet and work with. All of you are included among them. I don't want to start saying names for fear that I'll miss them, but I will say that it was truly a pleasure to work with Renee Signorati during her time here. I've just been a fan of hers for many, many years, and to be able to work with her was truly a wonderful experience, as well as many of the board members who have gone before me. It's been really a great time. When I arrived here, I looked forward to being part of making the big decisions that helped move the SCA in a particular direction. But what I found over time is it's not the big decisions we make, it's all the little decisions that we collectively make together, meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, working together, that really sort of sets the course for what we're doing. So I encourage all of you to keep making those decisions and keep putting your heart and soul into them. And anyone that is listening to this, people that are in the peanut gallery and watching the board meeting, and others that may take a look at this recording later, I would highly encourage you to think seriously about serving at the corporate level of the SCA. It is a life-changing, life-affirming experience, and you won't regret it. If you're thinking about it, it's time for you to write a letter, get a little resume together, and submit it to the board. And with that, I hereby declare this April 2022 meeting of the SCA Board of Directors adjourned. Thank you very much. So long. Thanks for all the fish.